It's actually really difficult to unpick exactly what's caused these floods because there are so very many contributing factors. Yes, there's been really a load of rain falling in this region, really unusual amounts of rain from this storm system. But actually, there's a lot of other stuff going on too. We've got a lot of people in the way of the floods. So lots of people living in at-risk areas. We've had quite a good forecast of the weather, of the rain that was going to come, but those warnings then did not reach the people on the ground as well. And people were surprised by the floods, or they didn't know what to do when they did hear those warnings. Receiving warnings of an upcoming flood is an easy way of keeping yourself safe and your homes not damaged as well. You can take actions to prepare your homes for these types of floods. The fact that we didn't hear those warnings, we saw people on the ground saying they hadn't received the warnings in time. You know, they were already neck deep in water when they got those alerts on their cell phones. You know, that suggests something's gone very wrong there with the warning system.
Going. Ánimo, ¿eh? Sí. Pero di que nos den a...
It's really important to have multiple channels of warnings. You can't just rely on one thing. If the cell broadcast network goes down, then you need another way of getting that message to people. And of course, there are many people who don't use cell phones as well, particularly those older people, and also children, of course, they need to know what to do. So lots and lots of different methods of communication, including local people going around, perhaps having a flood warden, making sure that everybody has got that message. When we have the landscape really parched because of a drought, it becomes very hard and the water can run off very, very quickly. And in these circumstances, that means that when it rains, that water rushes downstream very, very quickly to the places where people are living and causing all of this damage. So there is a relationship between drought and making floods worse. Some of what we're seeing, you know, has happened before in other places in Spain, around the world. We do get catastrophic flash flooding. It is a thing that happens. And we can map that and we can see the places that are at risk. And these places are at risk. We did know that. But yet, of course, people live in the way of these floods. There's been a lot of urban development, people moving into the area, huge population densities in some places. So all of these changes to the way that the cities function mean that more people are at risk. Of course, we've got the changes due to climate change to put on top of that. So we know that the risks are increasing as well. But a lot of the problems we've seen are actually behavioral. So people driving in floodwaters, putting themselves in the path of the water. Physics tells us that climate change is influencing these types of storm systems and these types of rainfalls, making them heavier or more likely to be heavier. But we can't blame climate change for a really bad flood preparedness. And, it is something to pay attention to, but really we need to get our act together for those floods that are happening now and those worse floods that might happen in the future.